For many, it seemed one of the most famous princes had finally found his long-awaited personal happiness. However, the sudden news of his separation from Meghan Markle, like a bolt from the blue, plunged him into the deepest despair, leaving his heart literally shattered. For a long time, whispers and rumors had circulated in high society, hinting that the prince's deeply ingrained, sometimes obsessive, character traits might have been the invisible force that gradually eroded and ultimately destroyed what was once such a strong and devoted marriage. But what truly was the last straw that broke the camel's back? What specific actions and decisions by Harry led to the irreversible, devastating collapse of their seemingly unbreakable relationship? And no less importantly, how would the royal family, known for its centuries-old discretion, unwavering traditions, and strict protocol, react to such astonishing and scandalous news? The answers to these questions lie deep within their shared history, waiting for their moment to be revealed. Regardless of how their first meeting actually occurred, whether through a mutual trusting friend whose role proved far more significant than mere mediation, or through the fast-evolving modern social media, which might seem more prosaic, the true essence of their encounter lay not in the details, but in something far deeper and unexplainable. For an almost electric, undeniable connection instantly sparked between them, seemingly foreshadowing a cloudless and happy future. From the moment this spark of mutual, powerful attraction ignited between them, Prince Harry's life began to transform rapidly and unpredictably, leading him into a completely new, uncharted course. He openly shared intimate memories of how, on that now historic first day of their acquaintance, he was literally overwhelmed by conflicting, tumultuous emotions. A deep, almost physical anxiety paradoxically mixed with a frenzied, all-consuming anticipation of something grand. Notably, that day he was utterly unable to find a suitable, secluded place to focus on such unexpectedly surging emotions, as all his thoughts and precious time were entirely absorbed by an intense, demanding sailing race. This led to a rather humorous yet deeply telling episode. In the heat of the competition, he inadvertently wet his trousers. This seemingly amusing and awkward incident, however, vividly demonstrated his complete and utter unpreparedness for what would prove to be one of the most fateful, defining, and significant days of his existence, forever altering his path. After that very first meeting, which left such a profound and truly indelible impression on his soul, thoughts of Meghan began to consume Prince Harry more and more, turning into something bordering on obsession. He later frankly admitted that he experienced a very strange, almost irrational feeling of discomfort, even an inexplicable inner unease, every time he sought to learn more about her, delving into her past, especially by watching her early television work. However, despite this clear nervous tension, the very fact of such a deep, almost meticulous immersion into her personal and professional history eloquently, without words, testified to how much this woman already meant to him from the very inception of their relationship, foreshadowing their rapid and highly unusual further development that no one could have foreseen. As their relationship deepened and became more intimate, Prince Harry began to notice with increasing apprehension profound, sometimes frightening transformations in his own behavior and inner state. Once, during a particularly heated and intense argument, a sudden surge of anger erupted within him, its flame seemingly threatening to consume everything. Meghan, possessing remarkable insight and enviable strength of character, was not afraid to look the problem directly and unflinchingly in the eye. She did not shy away from confronting the issue directly or trying to smooth things over. Instead of remaining silent, yielding, or attempting to resolve the conflict superficially, she delicately yet firmly made it clear to him that such a display of emotion was absolutely unacceptable and, what was particularly important, strongly urged him to seek professional help and undergo specialized therapy. And because he loved her sincerely and deeply, held immense respect for her common-sense opinion, and wholeheartedly sought to strengthen their nascent yet already significant bond, Harry listened attentively and, unusually, without resistance to her insistent but, as it turned out, wise suggestions, taking the first step towards self-reflection or perhaps, what could become a source of future disagreements. Among Prince Harry's close friends and royal family members, there were highly contradictory, sometimes diametrically opposed opinions regarding Meghan. His elder brother, Prince William, openly expressed his deep concern, believing that their relationship was developing with excessive, almost reckless haste. However, many in Harry's inner circle couldn't help but notice his unwavering, all-consuming, and profound attention, which he entirely devoted to Meghan. The prince, previously known for his carefree, free-spirited nature and easygoing approach to life, now displayed an unconditional, almost fanatical devotion, tirelessly and with fervent zeal striving to ensure her happiness and well-being. Harry always made it unequivocally clear what his highest and sole priority was. Without the slightest hesitation, he placed Meghan above long-standing, time-tested friendships, above centuries-old family expectations, and even above established, unbreakable royal customs and protocols. Harry unwaveringly, like a knight, defended Meghan from unfair accusations and slander spread by the relentless media. And then, just a week after their relationship was made public and became widely known, an unprecedented event for the royal family occurred, catching everyone by surprise and plunging the court into a state of shock. Higher circles were stunned. Prince Charles and his brother William, it was reported, were deeply offended and consumed by undisguised fury. Nevertheless, Harry remained absolutely resolute and did not waver from his convictions, which seemed only to strengthen under pressure. He was far more concerned with Meghan's safety and integrity than with gaining favor with his family or adhering to court etiquette. Harry's determination to ensure Meghan's well-being and protection grew stronger each day, becoming an unshakable core of his existence, which would later lead to unpredictable consequences for the entire monarchy. Prince Harry steadfastly demonstrated his unwavering support for Meghan, despite circulating insinuations about her alleged improper treatment of staff. In his book, he portrayed Meghan as a thoughtful, courteous, and genuinely empathetic person who truly cared for others. His deep affection for her proved stronger than any slandering speculations, and he chose simply to ignore them. Harry's uncompromising loyalty was evident in all his actions. He decided to resolve the situation confidentially when legal issues arose that could reveal sensitive royal secrets, as ensuring the safety of his wife and their offspring remained his paramount concern. The consistent removal of Harry and Meghan's names from official royal websites unequivocally indicated the palpable estrangement that had emerged between them. However, Meghan and Harry maintained unwavering unity, remaining united in their intentions. They decisively outlined their personal future aspirations and created independent platforms to realize these ambitions. Prince Harry repeatedly reflected on his courageous decision to stand up for Meghan back in 2016, fully aware that this step would cause considerable displeasure to his family. Nevertheless, he firmly believed it was the only correct course of action. Ultimately, he concluded that he could no longer tolerate the royal family's methods of engaging with the media, especially if it meant potential harm to Meghan. To understand the origins of this profound attachment, one must return to the very beginning of their infatuation and trace how Harry and Meghan's romance developed, transforming into something much greater. This event marked a completely new chapter in the annals of royal romances. The beginning of this new chapter in Harry and Meghan's lives was laid in the summer months of 2016. Meghan, a charming American actress, met Harry, a courageous royal with a big heart. Their meeting was arranged by a mutual acquaintance who was confident in their compatibility. Few could have foreseen the powerful force of their mutual attraction. Something extraordinary sparked between them from the moment they first met. An instant understanding arose between them, which rapidly grew into a strong and unbreakable bond. Their romantic relationship initially developed in the strictest confidence, shielded from public scrutiny. They preferred cozy evenings filled with shared television viewing and hours of conversation, rather than noisy social events or lavish outings. Their dates differed significantly from the usual encounters of most people, as Harry was a royal, and the world outside their private space could not observe the development of their relationship. Thus, they built deep bonds of trust, creating a safe haven where their feelings could freely blossom. Harry immediately realized that Meghan was a truly exceptional individual. Even their most ordinary meetings took on special meaning, and being by her side felt perfect in every way. After just 2 dates, Harry was firmly convinced that Meghan was the woman he wished to share the rest of his life with. Their first joint public appearance occurred at the Invictus Games in Toronto in September 2017. The whole world witnessed their obvious bliss as they held hands and exchanged smiles. The royal family, in turn, undoubtedly benefited from Meghan's multicultural background and her fresh, modern perspective on the world. Prince Harry's father officially announced their engagement in November 2017. Just a few months later, the public was entirely enthusiastic about the emergence of such a new, progressive royal figure. Meghan's arrival was widely interpreted as a decisive step by the monarchy towards greater openness and diversity. Prince Harry proposed to Meghan in a moment filled with genuine tenderness and absolute spontaneity. He knelt in a gesture filled with genuine humility and deep affection, while they were cooking a meal together in the cozy setting of their home. For Meghan, this event became one of the most romantic episodes of her life, leaving her in a state of complete astonishment and profound joy. Their grand royal wedding ceremony took place on May 19, 2018, in the historic St. George's Chapel, majestically standing within the famous Windsor Castle grounds. Meghan appeared incredibly striking and exquisitely elegant as she walked down the aisle, with millions of viewers from all corners of the globe watching her every graceful movement with bated breath. When Harry saw his bride, his gaze instantly filled with genuine, deepest emotions. The ceremony itself became a harmonious synthesis of Meghan's American cultural traditions and centuries-old British customs. Carefully selected rituals, poignant readings, and inspiring musical accompaniment gave this momentous day a completely different, modern interpretation. Even before the lavish celebration began, Harry and Meghan exchanged their personal vows in a secluded corner of their garden, with only the Archbishop of Canterbury present. This fleeting yet deeply memorable episode, occurring away from the burden of royal duties and public scrutiny, vividly underscored the true value of their personal, deeply rooted relationship. The newlywed couple, having sealed their union with marriage vows, immediately began building their life together, settling into Nottingham Cottage, cozily nestled within the vast grounds of Kensington Palace. This relatively modest but extremely cozy residence served as their first shared haven. In search of even greater privacy and tranquility, they later decided to rent a secluded residence in the picturesque Cotswolds region. Nevertheless, their subsequent abode became Frogmore Cottage, located in close proximity to the monumental Windsor Castle. After images of their serene and secluded existence appeared in global media, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II generously gifted them this charming home. Although their marriage seemed unbreakable, numerous observers couldn't help but notice an obvious transformation in Prince Harry's behavior and worldview. He seemed entirely immersed in Meghan's world, unreservedly embracing her interests, sharing her passions, and adopting her life principles. Prince Harry, previously known for his carefree nature and absolute dedication to royal duties, seemed to have resolutely cast aside his former existence, opening a completely new chapter of life in close proximity to Meghan. It became widely believed that Meghan had a significant impact on his life decisions, which in many cases harmoniously aligned with her own preferences. Gradually, a deep discord began to worsen between the couple and other senior members of the royal family. As Meghan adapted to complex palace life, rumors of increasing tension and internal disagreements actively circulated. Yet, despite all these challenges, she was consistently valued and liked for her straightforward, open, and consistently friendly demeanor. She connected with people with surprising ease and brought a completely new, fresh perspective to traditional royal events and established protocol. Nevertheless, media representatives did not always greet her presence with due favor. The daily lives of the royal couple, Prince Harry and Meghan, were systematically overshadowed by a relentless stream of disparaging publications that constantly appeared in print and on television. Their private lives, as well as their connections to the monarchy, were under comprehensive and intense public pressure. Prince Harry was often involved in sharp disagreements with his closest relatives, as he steadfastly and uncompromisingly defended Meghan's interests. Consequently, his once strong and unbreakable relationship with his elder brother, Prince William, began to perceptibly weaken. It became ingrained in the public consciousness that Prince Harry had chosen a radically different life path, consciously casting aside many familiar aspects of his former existence, driven by his deepest love for Meghan and an ardent desire to shield her from all adversities. In his autobiography, Prince Harry comprehensively and in detail described the immense impact all these events had on his inner world and psychological state. Despite his undeniable deep affection for his family and sincere love for his homeland, he often felt completely isolated during periods of severe trials. Ultimately, Prince Harry made an irreversible decision to stay by Meghan's side, despite any obstacles or opposition. And although some observers tirelessly asserted that she had a very significant and determining influence on him, it was precisely because of this boundless devotion that Prince Harry was forced to voluntarily renounce many accustomed privileges and benefits. For true love, he consciously made truly unprecedented sacrifices. Following a series of preceding events, the global public was stunned by a truly unprecedented decision by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, announced in early January 2020, which forever etched a new chapter in the annals of royal history. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, returning to the British Isles after a secluded and serene holiday spent in Canada, officially declared their intention to step back from their duties as senior members of the royal family. This astonishing news instantly spread across the globe, causing a powerful wave of amazement, deep sadness, and insatiable curiosity. Both Prince Harry and Meghan openly expressed their desire to divide their time between living in the United Kingdom and North America. However, this decision proved to be significantly deeper than a simple relocation or an increase in foreign travel. It entailed the complete renunciation of their financial support, all public obligations, and the performance of traditional royal functions. Shortly thereafter, Buckingham Palace released an official statement confirming that Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, would no longer perform their official royal duties. Although they would retain their royal titles, their use in an official context would cease. This decision proved very difficult for many members of the royal family, as well as for countless admirers of the monarchy. Prince Harry was beloved by the public for his exceptional charisma, sharp sense of humor, and unwavering dedication to public service. Meghan, as a woman of mixed race who married into the British royal family and a well-known American actress, brought a fresh, modern energy to the monarchy that many found quite remarkable and admirable. Their union was perceived by many as a harbinger of a more promising and diverse future for the ancient monarchy. However, behind the scenes of this seeming idyll, the situation was far more complex. From the moment she joined the royal family, Meghan was constantly subjected to intense public scrutiny and criticism. Nearly every one of her actions became a reason for negative press publications, which significantly complicated her life. Prince Harry was filled with determination to shield Meghan and their family from the same suffering and persecution from the media that his mother, Princess Diana, had endured. Meghan's last solo royal engagement took place in March 2020, when she visited a school ahead of International Women's Day. Shortly thereafter, Harry and Meghan made their final joint appearance as working members of the royal family, attending a Commonwealth Day service. At the end of that month, they officially announced their intention to step down from their roles as senior members of the royal family. It was also agreed that their new arrangement with the Queen would be reviewed and assessed after 1 year. Seeking financial independence, they agreed to cease performing royal duties and relinquish public funds. Previously, Prince Harry received a significant portion of his income from his father, Prince Charles, through the Duchy of Cornwall. Thus, this marked a very significant change in their financial situation, as this support now ceased. Harry and Meghan's choice to forge a different life path inevitably caused noticeable tension in their relationships with their closest relatives. For Her Majesty the Queen and other members of the monarchy, it was quite difficult to comprehend the true motives that prompted the couple to take such a step. In modern historical times, such a renunciation of royal duties was considered a virtually unprecedented phenomenon. After all, for Queen Elizabeth II, the concept of duty invariably prevailed over any personal pleasures or preferences. Nevertheless, Harry and Meghan continued to maintain certain ties with the United Kingdom, even after they decided to step back from actively performing their royal duties. The couple jointly attended the National Service of Thanksgiving for the Platinum Jubilee in June 2022, although their visits to the British Isles generally became quite rare and brief. During the same year, They also participated in various charitable events organized in Manchester and Dusseldorf. While preparing for another philanthropic event in London in September 2022, Harry and Meghan received the sorrowful news that Queen Elizabeth II had passed away at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. They decided to remain in the UK to attend her funeral, sharing the grief of loss with the entire royal family during this period of mourning. Despite their declared desire for privacy and a quieter existence, Prince Harry and Meghan constantly found themselves at the center of public attention. They actively made public statements, released documentaries, and gave numerous interviews, which undoubtedly contradicted their stated intentions. Such media activity provoked a wave of criticism from a number of observers and commentators. They argued that the situation seemed quite paradoxical. The couple so openly shared details of their private lives while simultaneously expressing a desire for less publicity and attention from the general public. After Prince Harry relinquished his royal duties, he faced a series of serious legal battles. For instance, in early 2020, a scandalous photograph gained widespread publicity, in which he was captured alongside elephants under anesthesia. However, the prince himself vehemently denied the truth of this story. Subsequently, thanks to the efforts of his legal representatives, Harry obtained official apologies and monetary compensation, intended for charitable purposes, after winning a lawsuit against a newspaper that published inaccurate information about his service in the Royal Marines. Nevertheless, the tension in the couple's relationship with the press did not subside. In 2022, Prince Harry again initiated legal proceedings against a publication, disputing the content of an article concerning his personal police protection. The judicial decision in this case proved to be quite ambiguous. Ultimately, in 2024, Prince Harry decided to settle the conflict, agreeing to cover the publisher's legal costs and cease further consideration of the case. Concurrently, Prince Harry and Meghan diligently worked to transform their public image, focusing on pressing social issues, numerous charitable initiatives, and mental health matters. Meghan had a significant influence on shaping their new public narrative, making strategic decisions about what information to release and when to appear publicly. In October 2022, Prince Harry coordinated his efforts with Sadie Frost and Elton John, initiating legal proceedings against a tabloid for egregious violation of their privacy. The accusations concerned unlawful access to their financial information, medical data, and phone records. The court allowed this process to proceed. Despite the publisher vehemently denying all accusations, Harry and Meghan visited Nigeria in May 2024 to promote the Invictus Games and highlight critically important topics such as women's empowerment, mental well-being, and rehabilitation through sport. This visit, which occurred after their departure from royal life, vividly demonstrated their unwavering commitment to philanthropic work. In retrospect, their decision to step back from royal duties appears not merely as a resignation, but truly a daring step towards an entirely different way of life. Prince Harry chose this unconventional path, motivated by his boundless love for Meghan and a genuine desire for inner peace, despite his enduring affection for his family and homeland. Thus, even by relinquishing his titles and centuries-old customs, he found the opportunity to live in accordance with his own convictions and principles. Warmth and deep affection once formed the foundation of Prince Harry's intimate relationships with members of his royal family. As children, Prince Harry, his elder brother William, and their father Charles shared many happy moments and carefree games together. However, over time, as they matured and faced the inevitable challenges of monarchical life, making individual decisions along the way, their relationships gradually began to fracture. Their paths diverged due to a series of disagreements, profound emotional upheavals, and differing life priorities, which steadily widened the gap between them, resulting from a combination of factors rather than a single incident. Prince Harry peeled back the curtain on certain aspects of his relationships with members of the royal family, revealing that in the past, he and his brother William had agreed to accept Camilla, their father's longtime companion, into the family circle. However, this consent was contingent on a clear condition. Their father, Prince Charles, was not to marry her. Despite the agreement, Prince Charles made a different choice, marrying Camilla, which went against the previously established terms. Although Harry acknowledged that his father seemed to have found genuine happiness with his chosen partner, He himself found it exceedingly difficult to reconcile with this fact. In his view, Camilla actively and purposefully worked to improve her public image, often doing so at the expense of other family members, and specifically at his own expense. According to Prince Harry's assertions, Camilla facilitated the leaking of confidential information about his teenage struggles to the press, aiming to garner public sympathy and thus solidify her own position. He specifically indicated that she contributed to the disclosure of his past adolescent issues, including episodes of drug use in 2002, when he was undergoing treatment at a specialized center. Beyond seeking personal gain, Harry also perceived this move as an attempt to bolster Prince Charles's reputation as a devoted and deeply caring parent. Prince William, like his brother, also endured numerous personal trials. According to Prince Harry's accounts, William took quite some time to come to terms with the truth about his father's relationship with Camilla. He felt deep regret over his silence and harbored serious doubts about the woman who had caused a rift between their parents. This complex life experience left William in a state of confusion and anxiety, torn between his own profound feelings and his unwavering loyalty to his royal family. Prince Harry, for his part, recalled his first meeting with Camilla as an event filled with awkwardness and emotional detachment. He felt that she showed no genuine interest in him, as he was not the heir to the throne and, therefore, held no particular importance for her. Gradually, Harry began to notice seemingly minor gestures from Camilla that, nonetheless, over time had a tangible emotional impact on him. An example cited is when she converted his former bedroom at Clarence House into her personal dressing room after he had vacated the residence. These seemingly insignificant actions contributed to Harry feeling increasingly estranged from his own family. Prince Harry also recounted a remarkably difficult period in his father, Prince Charles's, life during his time at Gordonstoun School, where the future monarch was systematically bullied and felt profoundly unhappy. Even as an adult, Charles found solace in a childhood teddy bear, holding it tightly, which eloquently symbolized his deep sense of isolation and loneliness. Observing this, Harry sincerely wished for his father to find true happiness, believing that Camilla's inner well-being might make her less hostile. The relationship between William and Harry, the two royal brothers, gradually changed over time, becoming increasingly estranged. This sense of distance was particularly acutely felt by Harry even at a significant event like William's wedding in 2011. Despite being honored as his brother's best man, the actual speeches at the reception were delivered not by him, but by William's close friends James Meade and Thomas Van Straubenzee. Harry, however, considered this a sensible decision, as he feared he might say something awkward or make an inappropriate joke. This festive day was made even stranger by Harry's sudden recollection of a frostbitten toe, sustained after an expedition to the North Pole. Following advice, Charles applied a special cream to Harry's toe, which inadvertently evoked in his mind the image of his late mother, Princess Diana. Thus, even joyous events, like a royal wedding, could plunge him into a state of sadness and deep memories. Beyond his personal experiences, Prince Harry also delved into his brief romantic relationship with the well-known television presenter Caroline Flack. Their connection, unfortunately, could not develop harmoniously, as the constant and intrusive attention from the media, like an omnipresent observer, continually penetrated their private lives, depriving them of the opportunity to enjoy each other's company in peace. He also elaborated on the many rumors circulating about his romantic life, including completely unfounded claims of his alleged encounters with actress Cameron Diaz, which he categorically denied. Reflecting on this, Harry couldn't help but ponder the extent of the British public's naivety, so easily trusting news published in tabloids, even when such information was entirely untrue. The situation surrounding Prince Harry became significantly more complicated when Meghan Markle entered his life. Almost immediately, Meghan began to be blamed for Harry's growing estrangement from his family. Many critics persistently claimed that she was the one pulling the prince away from his relatives and established royal traditions. In March 2021, shortly before the scheduled airing of Harry and Meghan's highly anticipated interview, tensions sharply escalated. During that period, Buckingham Palace released an official public statement concerning an investigation into alleged bullying by Meghan towards two senior royal staff members. The Times newspaper also covered these accusations, reporting that Meghan had allegedly behaved inappropriately towards staff while carrying out her duties as a royal. The palace strongly urged both current and former employees to provide any relevant information, emphasizing that they took these allegations very seriously and would conduct a thorough, comprehensive investigation. Even before the interview aired, Harry and Meghan categorically denied the accusations, stating that they were part of a targeted smear campaign designed to damage Meghan's reputation. Given her personal experience with bullying, Meghan was deeply disheartened by the spread of such claims. Despite the criticism leveled against her, she remained committed to her charitable endeavors and actively promoting compassion and understanding. These accusations only exacerbated an already difficult situation. The royal family unequivocally stated that bullying and harassment were unacceptable and would not be tolerated. However, Meghan's supporters expressed the opinion that the investigation was deliberately initiated to divert public attention from potential revelations that might emerge in Harry and Meghan's upcoming interview. Ultimately, all these events vividly demonstrated how fragile and intricate family bonds can be, when emotional tension sometimes arises from a complex intertwining of love, loyalty, and inevitable obligations. And for Prince Harry, these events had very serious consequences. The world was deeply stirred when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle decided to give a candid interview. During this heartbreaking conversation, the serious difficulties they faced within the royal family became perfectly clear. The widely accepted image of a life filled with luxury and carefree living, which many imagined, turned out to be merely a superficial facade. Beneath the glittering royal splendor lay genuine deep emotions, suffering, and feelings of complete isolation. Meghan spoke with astonishing candor about how challenging it was to integrate into royal life from the very beginning. She elaborated on the trials associated with marriage, childbirth, and the relentless attention from both the media and the general public. Her own perception of what royal life should be was drastically different from the reality. It proved to be significantly more complex than she could have anticipated. Regarding her entry into the royal family, Meghan confessed that her knowledge was extremely limited. She relied entirely on Harry, trusting him to guide her and not conducting any serious preliminary research. Because her faith in him was absolute, she unhesitatingly followed his lead. However, to her surprise, Meghan suddenly felt incredibly lonely and as if trapped in a world that remained completely incomprehensible to her. "No one really taught me the royal rules," she stated. As an example, she cited an instance when Sarah, Duchess of York, had to hastily teach Meghan the art of curtsying. This was a basic but extremely significant royal gesture, which she learned literally just before Meghan's first meeting with the Queen. Under the watchful eye of the public, scrutinizing her every move, Meghan felt completely unprepared and deeply isolated. For Meghan, one of the most insightful and bitter realizations was the fundamental discrepancy she discovered between the idealized notion of the royal family and the true, often soulless, functional structure of the institution. Although the Queen herself, as noted, demonstrated genuine warmth and deep hospitality towards her, many other influential figures within this monarchical system did not always provide the support Meghan expected or desperately needed. The Duchess of Sussex repeatedly stated openly that during periods of severe mental distress, when her thoughts turned to self-harm, she actively and persistently sought professional help. However, instead of sympathy and practical support, she was strongly advised to maintain absolute silence, so as not to cause irreparable damage to the carefully constructed public image and centuries-old prestige of the royal dynasty. In those agonizing and extremely difficult days, she felt utterly isolated and hopelessly abandoned. The public was deeply shocked when Meghan, during the interview, frankly admitted that even before the birth of their son Archie, she had witnessed extremely unpleasant and even revolting discussions concerning the potential color of his future skin. This remark, laden with racist undertones, caused Prince Harry and Meghan the deepest indignation and outrage. Nevertheless, they made a conscious decision not to reveal the identity of the person who uttered these words, maintaining confidentiality. Prince Harry, for his part, described this episode as one of the saddest and most painful moments in their shared life, confirming that he had personally heard this conversation and subsequently relayed its content to his wife. In addition to these revelations, The couple also took the opportunity of the interview to debunk a number of rumors circulating in the press and society. Meghan categorically denied widely publicized information, published in a newspaper, according to which she had allegedly made Kate Middleton cry shortly before her wedding. Meghan claimed that the actual situation was precisely the opposite. It was Kate who made her cry. Subsequently, as Meghan asserted, Kate sent a bouquet of flowers and expressed her apologies. Nevertheless, Meghan felt significant and deep disappointment that the palace had taken no steps to correct this inaccurate and disparaging news report. The inaction and silence of official bodies, in her opinion, conveyed a clear and unambiguous message. Meghan Markle also presented the public with another bitter and shocking truth about her time in the royal family. She revealed that her personal belongings, including vital documents such as her passport and driver's license, as well as bank cards, had been confiscated. Upon joining the monarchy, she felt caught in an invisible trap, as if she had been stripped of all freedom and autonomy. Initially, she sincerely believed that maintaining absolute silence would ensure her protection and security within the system. However, this naive belief subsequently proved to be completely mistaken. Subsequently, Prince Harry joined the interview, fully confirming and reinforcing his wife's statements. He indicated that certain members of the royal family began to feel deep and unconcealed envy after their exceptionally successful visit to Australia in 2018, which was enthusiastically received by the public and press. Some, he said, expressed clear displeasure with Meghan's ability to easily connect with people and flawlessly perform her royal duties. Harry was convinced that Meghan's outstanding success was precisely the cause of envy among certain relatives. The couple also claimed that they had seriously considered the prospect of moving to one of the Commonwealth countries, such as South Africa or New Zealand, where they could continue to maintain loyalty to the monarchy while leading a more secluded and peaceful existence, away from constant attention. However, these ideas never materialized, and over time it became clear that the internal family situation would not improve, but would only continue to worsen. Prince Harry also spoke candidly about his complex and evolving relationship with his brother, Prince William. He asserted that, despite the increasing estrangement and the divergence of their life paths, he still felt deep and unwavering love for William. They were separated by numerous factors: the uncompromising demands of royal life, pervasive jealousy, and endless family feuds fueled by the system. Harry expressed his conviction that the royal system itself, with all its rigid protocols and restrictions, had effectively shackled Prince Charles and Prince William, depriving them of the opportunity to break free and live their own lives. Although he himself was well aware that he could no longer endure such a lifestyle, he nevertheless felt sincere compassion and understanding for their situation. In concluding his remarks, Prince Harry thoroughly and exhaustively justified his own decision to step back from royal duties. He persistently asserted that, despite numerous appeals and repeated pleas for assistance, he received not the slightest support or help from his royal relatives. Prince Harry was deeply convinced that leaving the monarchy was the only and undeniably optimal path to ensure the safety, well-being, and true happiness of his wife and children. Amidst this rather stark and utterly candid conversation, Meghan and Harry were able to share truly joyful news. They announced to the world that their second child would be a girl. This delightful and long-awaited event, which was due to occur in the summer of 2021, brought an element of lightness and even casual humor to the serious discussion, becoming a bright ray in a difficult and at times depressing narrative. Prince Harry also paid special attention to his royal grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He specifically emphasized that even after their decision to distance themselves from royal duties, Her Majesty managed to maintain strong and cordial relations with Meghan. Moreover, Harry recounted a poignant episode that vividly illustrated the unshakable nature of their family ties. He spoke of a sincere moment related to Prince Philip's stay in the hospital, which served as undeniable proof of the indestructibility of their deep and mutual affection. One of the most heartbreaking moments of the interview was Meghan's frank admission about her deepest and darkest emotional suffering. She confessed that she was on the verge of complete despair and almost capitulated under the weight of insurmountable circumstances. But deliverance came through a loyal friend of Harry's mother, Princess Diana. Through a sincere reflection on his mother's tragic fate, Harry was able to realize how tragic historical events, alas, have a sinister tendency to repeat themselves, and this unshakably strengthened his resolve to protect his own family from similar torment and cruel trials. The culmination of this candid conversation was an incredibly touching and emotionally charged episode. Harry revealed the content of his farewell words addressed to the Queen at the moment of her passing. He expressed deep hope for her reunion with Prince Philip and for her to finally find the deserved and long-awaited peace. This deeply intimate and profoundly personal moment touched the hearts of millions of people across the globe, generating a powerful wave of sincere empathy and universal understanding. However, what prompted Meghan to make such a radical decision to part ways, given all they had been through together? Let us delve into the essence of this complex question and seek an explanation. In its early days, their romantic saga was perceived as the embodiment of a modern legend. Meghan Markle, formerly a celebrated actress and now a duchess, and Prince Harry, a member of the royal family who renounced his high status and even left his homeland for his beloved, appeared to the world as the absolute embodiment of an ideal union. When they posed for countless cameras and openly expressed their mutual feelings in front of the entire world, they presented themselves to the public as immensely happy and deeply in love. Nevertheless, behind the facade of these impeccable photographs and meticulously planned public events, their relationship steadily eroded and gradually broke down. Soon, rumors began to circulate, indicating that Harry's insatiable need for approval and his tireless quest for constant attention had begun to noticeably irritate Meghan. Close friends of Duchess Meghan testified that his persistent desire to be completely involved in every facet of her existence and his unchanging, all-encompassing presence literally suffocated her. What initially seemed like a manifestation of tender affection and care gradually transformed into a suffocating and burdensome dependency. One can only imagine what it means to move to a foreign country, renounce a familiar royal way of life, only for your partner to relentlessly cling to you, giving no space for personal growth. Apparently, Meghan found herself in precisely such an extremely difficult and psychologically exhausting situation, which was unbearably hard for her. Harry, on the contrary, apparently remained completely oblivious to any difficulties or internal conflicts. He openly and unshakably defended their marriage, publicly declaring its absolute perfection. Even before the first hints of disagreement began to appear, he spoke sincerely and movingly about Meghan, characterizing their bond as unbreakable and eternal. However, Duchess Meghan, it is claimed, shared entirely different, far less joyful impressions with her close friends. She confessed that her psychological state steadily deteriorated when she was in close proximity to Harry. She felt herself gradually losing her individuality, and with each passing day, her situation became more and more unbearable. This was followed by an event that, in the opinion of many observers, only exacerbated the already circulating conjectures and rumors in society. This referred to a performance by the famous singer Beyoncé. That same night, a small video clip instantly spread across the internet, causing a real storm of polarized comments. Meghan's reaction to Harry's obvious attempt to create a romantic and intimate moment directly on camera was quite telling. She quickly embraced Harry, but then pulled away just as quickly, as if she was eager to end this public interaction as soon as possible. Social media users immediately noticed her obvious and unconcealed discomfort. They meticulously began to analyze every tiny detail, carefully studying her nonverbal reactions and facial expressions. To everyone's astonishment, later that same evening, Meghan posted several picturesque and seemingly idyllic photos on her personal social media page. The couple's tender embraces and radiant smiles were captured in touching, intimate moments, immortalized in these photographs. The presented picture looked almost unbelievable, as if it had stepped out of the pages of a romantic movie script, where all feelings are sincere and flawless. Nevertheless, many people questioned the authenticity of these images, believing that it was an artfully planned ploy designed to mask the true state of affairs and divert attention from the recent incident. Royal observers and experts in nonverbal communication expressed their conjectures, hypothesizing that Meghan was merely skillfully feigning serenity and calm, while behind closed doors she was already secretly preparing for her departure. This went beyond ordinary, sometimes awkward official events or public appearances, indicating deeper disagreements. Reportedly, the most significant issue in royal circles was Harry's deep and all-consuming attachment to Meghan. He resolutely gave up his family ties, left royal duties, and moved to the US to start an entirely new life, completely centered around Meghan, demonstrating unprecedented devotion. Since Harry sacrificed everything for her, his actions might have initially seemed touching and selfless. But, it is reported, over time they became excessive and overwhelming for Meghan. Constantly being in the spotlight and under public scrutiny can be oppressive and exhausting for anyone. According to insiders, Meghan began to feel pressured by this all-encompassing attention. She passionately desired autonomy, personal space, and the ability to grow on her own terms, without constant control and expectations. However, her aspirations were challenged by Harry's strong emotional dependence, which, apparently, held her back. This may have been the decisive moment when rumors of the couple's possible divorce began to circulate. By then, Meghan, it is rumored, had already made a final and irrevocable decision regarding her future. According to sources, when Meghan finally decided to express her true feelings and intentions, Harry was deeply shocked and could not believe what he heard. He had sacrificed everything for their life together, only to watch their relationship fall apart right before his eyes. Despite all his sacrifices and efforts, Meghan, it is reported, felt suffocated and restricted in this relationship. According to people in her inner circle, she sought greater independence and desired to understand who she truly was, outside the context of the royal family and this relationship. The irony was that Harry had given up his former way of life, everything familiar to him, to be with her and build a new life. But now, Meghan felt trapped, surrounded by his constant presence and deep attachment. Friends assert that she never viewed the relationship as a long-term commitment or an unbreakable bond. Meghan, they claim, saw it as a survival strategy, a way to maintain appearances in society and forge a new life for herself by leveraging the existing situation. Her tolerance significantly dwindled as the initial excitement and novelty wore off. Many observers agreed that the root of the discord lay not in a lack of warmth or goodwill from Meghan, but rather in a fundamental divergence in the life aspirations of the two individuals. Harry, it seemed, sought a partner capable of helping him adapt to a new way of life away from royal walls, and he yearned for a quiet, deeply devoted relationship based on mutual support. Meghan, conversely, focused on pursuing professional advancement, re-entering the public arena, and forming an extensive network of influential contacts, which required a completely different approach to life. She showed no willingness to compromise her ambitions or shoulder the burden of caring for someone who, by all accounts, was still struggling with long-standing family difficulties and emotional traumas, which demanded significant emotional investment from her. According to reports, Meghan gradually perceived Harry's presence as a significant impediment to the full realization of her personal ambitions and further self-development. His internal emotional barriers, a clear lack of desire to fully integrate into the dynamic environment of Hollywood society, and his insatiable need for continuous external validation created palpable psychological pressure and a constant sense of discomfort for her. Meghan, on the other hand, dreamed of glittering social gatherings surrounded by celebrities, achieving her own prominent standing in society, and forming a broad and influential network of useful contacts. For her, it was crucially important to be perceived not merely as Harry's partner, but as a distinct and complete individual. Meghan Markle, an embodiment of determination, independence, and unyielding energy. Often, relationships where sincere affection gradually turns into tangible limitations become fertile ground for deep disagreements and bitter disappointments. Those close to Meghan, her loyal friends and family members, could not help but notice how she gradually felt increasingly constrained by Harry's lifestyle, which, in her opinion, offered her extremely limited prospects for realizing her long-cherished ambitions. Plunged into a state of deep fatigue and growing despair, she apparently began to drift away from her authentic self, losing touch with her own innermost desires and life goals. Eventually, Meghan, it seems, came to an irrevocable decision to end the relationship and leave him permanently. When the curtain finally fell on their life together, it became abundantly clear. Harry was overcome by deep devastation. He was unable to hold back his tears, and he struggled immensely to comprehend how their once strong relationship had come to such a tragic end. Although he, according to his own deep conviction, had sacrificed everything for her, he had to confront the agonizing realization that when the life trajectories of two individuals begin to diverge in opposite directions, love alone, however sincere and all-consuming, is often insufficient to preserve a marital union. Their shared story, which at the dawn of their relationship seemed the embodiment of a true romantic fairy tale, gradually and subtly transformed into something entirely different, losing its initial luster. Perhaps at first glance, their union appeared ideal and flawless, but at its core, it was an alliance based on fundamentally different needs, mismatched life goals, and conflicting personal desires. The moment Meghan articulated her final decision to leave, Prince Harry, according to numerous available testimonies, plunged into a state of the deepest emotional shock. As informed sources claim, his entire accustomed way of life seemed to be irresistibly crumbling into fragments. It is important to note that the problem was not solely the agonizing collapse of their marital ties. According to his close circle, Harry was absolutely stunned by this turn of events, having completely failed to foresee such a radical and irreversible decision. Prince Harry, displaying surprising optimism, continued to harbor hope for a favorable resolution and an improvement of the situation, even during the period when Meghan was actively finalizing preparations for her departure. After Meghan articulated her final and irrevocable decision, Harry, according to testimonies from his closest friends, faced a series of serious difficulties and agonizing internal struggles. His soul was overwhelmed by profound sorrow, an all-consuming sense of loneliness, and an insurmountable feeling of complete disorientation regarding the future. And although he reportedly had several loyal and close friends, none of them could offer him adequate solace or even partially alleviate the deep emotional damage that had been inflicted upon his soul. Among his many acquaintances, opinions regarding what had transpired were sharply divided. Some openly blamed Meghan for the prince's deplorable state, while others held the view that Harry should have recognized the alarming harbingers of the impending catastrophe much earlier. Already existing problems in their relationship were exacerbated not only by acute personal conflicts and long-standing family disagreements, but also by countless unfavorable public comments, which relentlessly fueled the already mounting tension. Despite all this, Prince Harry remained deeply and sincerely devoted to the elevated romantic idea, the ideal of all-conquering love. He harbored the deepest and most sincere feelings for Meghan and unwaveringly believed that their mutual affection could withstand and successfully overcome any, even the harshest, life trials. Informed insiders, deeply immersed in the intricacies of royal family affairs, boldly suggest that this specific rupture will, in all likelihood, be final, irrevocably severing the remaining ties between Harry and his ancient monarchical lineage. According to the same royal insiders, this event is a vivid and blatant testament that Prince Harry has definitively departed from the life path that was traditionally prescribed and expected of him within the strict confines of royal protocol and his duties. Reportedly, the royal family now firmly holds the opinion that there is no longer any possibility for him to return to his former position and restore past relationships. Meanwhile, informed sources closely connected with the royal court expressed a fundamentally different point of view. Their conviction was that sooner or later Prince Harry would fully realize the true extent of his losses. Beyond countless duties and the strictest protocols, the royal family granted him undeniable security, predictable stability, and, no less significantly, a deep sense of belonging to ancient tradition and rich historical heritage. Now, in their opinion, he found himself in a peculiar state of uncertainty, caught between a new reality that did not feel like a complete home and the former world he had so emphatically left. Public opinion regarding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle underwent truly dramatic metamorphoses. From the once fervent and almost unconditional support they felt, it gradually shifted to outright indifference, and at times even to pronounced antipathy. Although some groups of people continued to demonstrate their unwavering loyalty and support for Harry, a significant portion of the public now openly voiced criticism, hinting that he might have been a victim of deception, and his sacrifices and efforts ultimately proved futile and utterly meaningless. It became widely believed that his elder brother would invariably occupy a central place in public consciousness and attention, remaining a figure of paramount importance. Meghan, apparently, handled such intense public scrutiny with much greater ease than Harry, who was raised in strict conditions where the open expression of personal experiences and feelings was not only discouraged but even condemned. His internal torments and emotional suffering became evident to many. However, most external observers showed no sympathy or understanding of his situation. Prince Harry made desperate attempts to begin an entirely new chapter of his life in a place that once seemed to him the embodiment of boundless optimism and hope, but now, apparently, had turned into an arena of his personal despair and disappointment. What does this breakup truly mean for the Sussexes? What is their path forward? This is a story of life after love has faded. The fates of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have undergone radical changes since their relationship began to rapidly deteriorate. What once blossomed as a captivating and enchanting romantic saga has now turned into a story of separation, profound silence, and the relentless search for entirely new horizons. Both individuals are currently navigating a period of profound uncertainty, carefully weighing all available opportunities and potential avenues for development. And while an official announcement is not expected anytime soon, unseen but highly significant processes are already unfolding behind the scenes, shaping their future. According to information obtained from sources close to Buckingham Palace, Prince Harry has reportedly been excluded from preliminary guest lists for a number of significant royal events. There is even a very high probability of his complete exclusion from such important events as the upcoming monarch's coronation, which would be an unprecedented step. Even Prince William, who once solemnly promised to always support his brother, has made no attempts at reconciliation or to restore their former relationship. The bond between the two brothers now appears extremely distant and deeply estranged, as if an insurmountable chasm separates them. In Harry's personal life, a deep and unsettling silence has settled. His long-standing companions, who provided him with such essential support during his renunciation of royal duties, have now also distanced themselves. They found themselves in a difficult position, unsure how to comfort him or offer any effective assistance. Prince Harry declined the offer to take a short break in the United Kingdom to regain his strength and peace of mind. Perhaps he secretly harbors the hope that Meghan will change her mind about staying in Los Angeles. The most challenging aspect for him is that, despite the obvious breakdown of their union, he still harbors an inexhaustible feeling of deep affection and tenderness for her. The royal family, it seems, has its own judgment on the current state of affairs, believing that Prince Harry may gradually be realizing the true essence of belonging to the monarchical structure. For him, it was something far greater than merely performing official duties or strictly adhering to protocol. It was this belonging that provided him with a sense of security, filled his life with profound meaning, and gave him the invaluable feeling of acceptance and belonging to something larger. Currently, with Meghan and the royal family having gone their separate ways, Harry feels torn between two diametrically opposed worlds. He is no longer a member of the royal family with clearly defined functions and privileges, yet he also does not find complete comfort or a sense of belonging in Hollywood. This is a state of deep and agonizing loneliness. Meanwhile, Meghan is focused on creating an entirely new beginning. Hollywood circles are buzzing with speculation and conjectures regarding her next steps and career prospects. Some analysts believe she might quietly return to an acting career, reappearing on screen. Others are actively discussing the possibility of writing a book in which she could share her unique life experiences and valuable lessons learned from the events she endured. The public always shows heightened and unceasing interest in Meghan's story, whether it's a positive or negative narrative. Therefore, many agree that such a book would enjoy overwhelming success in the market, attracting millions of readers. According to people in Meghan's inner circle, she began adjusting her plans even before the official public announcement of the breakup. She started attending important meetings independently, re-establishing contact with old acquaintances, and actively seeking new PR agencies to help her shape a renewed public image. The main focus now is to present Meghan as a strong, independent mother, ready to restore her reputation and professional standing in society. Some observers believe she began organizing this new chapter of her life even before fully ending the past, meticulously preparing for future changes. Many recognized experts and prominent public figures unanimously agree that Meghan could seize this exceptional opportunity for a striking and triumphant return to the public arena. This impressive resurgence could be realized through the creation of a successful podcast, the publication of a highly sought-after bestseller, or a public address dedicated to the profound theme of self-discovery. Meghan is considered to be acting very prudently and farsightedly. However, for Harry, such developments may only exacerbate the feeling that, in his opinion, he is falling behind her, unable to keep pace with her rapid momentum. According to information obtained from his close circle, Prince Harry is currently showing significantly increased seriousness regarding therapy. This realization underscores that overcoming numerous difficulties and complex life circumstances is just as vitally necessary as healing deep emotional wounds. Among the current trials the prince faces are the burden of past royal duties, strained disagreements with his family members, and the unceasing pain from the irreversible loss of his mother. He is forced to immerse himself in his own thoughts without distraction, trying to comprehend the changed, completely unfamiliar reality for him. Harry's future reunion with the royal family remains shrouded in uncertainty. The current situation is complicated by significant physical and psychological estrangement between them, creating distance. At the heart of this challenging situation are two young children, Archie and Lilibet, who are, in essence, torn between their parents' fundamentally different life paths. As Harry and Meghan appear to be heading in separate directions, their shared future remains entirely unpredictable.